So, are you ready?
I am ready, man. This has been
Are
a
you
great
sure?
one. I am, man. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, in the final match of the night, he is the blue Terran, representing Risen. It is Alessandro.
And in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have the pink Zerg player returning for his second match of the night. SYL's Wildfire.
I mean, it.
Like SYL's logo.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Luna. Sun and the moon.
I like that. Yeah, it's been, like I said, I've said this time and time again, it's been so awesome. Even with the lower, ranks or lower levels, a lot of times you kind of say, oh, well, these aren't, that kind of good. We want to see those Grandmaster games, the 50 million drops in 2 different places, and it's like, sometimes just the simple, lower level games, to see the people learning and seeing how the lower leagues move and react to each other. It's just something that's really cool to me, to see the mistakes and then also see the triumphs. So it's definitely one of my favorite things of tonight. It's just all the awesome gameplay.
It's a lot more relatable than watching higher level players. Additionally, let's say you are a lower level player, you're silver, you're gold, you're platinum, you watch a lot of grandmasters, and you see them do all these things, and you're like, okay, all these people are breaking down all these cool builds and getting really technical. I'm going to learn the build, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to be good. And you try to do that build, but you don't have the practice, you don't have the games, you don't have the skill yet, so you can't hit the builds and the timings that these higher level players can do. You just don't have the skill to do the things they can do yet, and it becomes a really frustrating thing, as opposed to seeing players that are your level a little bit lower. It's easier to understand the thought process, the decision making, and kind of build on things that way. For me, that's why I don't end up watching a lot of competitive StarCraft, because it almost hinders me.
Yeah. I like watching it. I like to see, especially right now, I'm finally starting to get a grasp of Legacy of the Void, but to see different builds, to see how players react at the professional level to different things, it's really nice. But then to be able to go down to the lower levels, to see kind of what's happening, how people are reacting to that, and just kind of like the mistakes and stuff, it's really nice to see that. So
Still wondering about the lag complaints we've been getting. I haven't experienced a lick of lag this entire game. I've been running fantastic at 90 ms.
Yeah.
No lag. Have you been lagging?
I lagged during the first game, and I thought it was mine for a long time, but yeah, on mine I'm having no lag. So I'm wondering maybe what's going on. Ever since the first game, I haven't had no lag. I'm running, almost 30 frames per second, which isn't a terrible lot, but it's been going good for mine. So we do have a Roach Warren coming out, though. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna pause for a minute, just try to figure out this lag issue here. It does look like we are having some upgrades coming out. And he's got some upgrades coming out, so...
Alessandro going for that 16 Marine drop, but wondering about the third barracks here. Not sure why that's there. Things looking pretty standard here for Wildfire, except for the fact that he doesn't have a third base up yet.
Yeah. The third racks really is just kind of to get some extra Marines out. I like what he's doing here, going with the reactor on it. That way you're getting, 4 Marines, a Marauder. That way you can kind of counteract the heavy, I guess, larva style that is Zerg. That you kind of counteract because they can make so many units at one time. Being able to have that reactor, able to get double units and try to get that up to keep up with the Zerg is really nice.
But the timing of it kind of ends up being a little wonky here because now
Yeah.
he's got, he's got his 3 barracks. He doesn't really have the medevacs to get all of those units across the map to do anything. So they just kind of end up sitting there, and by the time he can do anything with them, Wildfire has kind of asserted the fact that he is up on drone count and is mining a whole lot more. So I end up having more units that way.
Yeah. And that's one thing too, like in that last engagement there, he had the Marines, he was kind of pushing a little bit, but his Marines were just focusing on the Overlord instead of trying to get some of those units down. So he just kind of gave away some Marines for free. He does finally have that expansion out for the Terran player here. And so he's going to be able to get a little bit of an economy, but the Zerg player is already going on his 3rd. And kind of a rule for Terran is to try to keep at least up with bases, if not be a base up from the Zerg, just to kind of counteract.
Absolutely. There's an old saying about Zerg that if you're exactly on the same base as your Terran or Protoss opponent, you're actually behind.
I do want to say, though, I really like the Zerg player. He's doing a great job making sure he has the proper amount of drones in his gases, on his minerals, and he's not like floating heavily on his drones to where they're just kind of sitting there doing nothing. Everything so far, it looks like, has a purpose and is really doing that.
He's a little high on gas. Could definitely throw down his 2-2 attack and defense right now. Start attacking, doing some other things. But yeah, he's been okay. Starting to float now that he's moving across the map to attack. But before now, he was managing things pretty well.
Yeah, and the Terran player, he's out of position here. We got a couple of Bailings coming in, and yeah, he just has nothing to defend that. So the GG comes out, and Wildfire is going to pick up that game.